This is a really fun podcast.
3, 2.
Welcome back to a really fun podcast. Here we go.
Here we go. What's
Let's
up,
do
guys?
it. Let's do it. How we feeling
Let's
today?
do it.
Let's do it. I was gonna say, like, what's up? Let's do it.
Like it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We're doing good.
We're doing good
today.
I think we got a pretty good one today.
I'm excited for this one.
Yep. We are talking about personalities. Do you love your personality? Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I do.
I do
That's
love
why I
your
married you.
personality. Oh, you love my personality.
I love your personality. But we're going to talk about personalities today. Yeah. We're going to talk about the differences of personalities, the difference of our personalities, how over the years our personalities have changed.
Correct.
And how we can, again, celebrate the differences in personalities, because I think that we oftentimes think that they compete against one another, or that they don't jive personalities. And let's talk about it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a song like that. Celebrate our differences.
Really?
Pretty sure.
Did Rachel just write that up, or did she write that
Let me know.
up? Did you just write that? Make that up?
I think it's a thing. Celebrate our differences.
I'm here for it.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know now.
Pull it up.
Let's see.
So we're going to celebrate our differences as Rachel is pulling this one up. But I think personalities are good. I think that God has created all of us uniquely. And I feel like, especially as the digital age grows, that we can compare our personalities, and that there are cooler personalities than others. What are you laughing at?
I think I found it.
Over here just trying to just spit fire, and Rachel's just goofing. What do we got?
It has a, hold on.
Does it have an E next to it?
No, it has a, no.
Okay, let's say do not
It
play
has
that.
a potentially offensive content ahead.
Oof. Nope.
I don't know if I like that.
Also, now that I just realized this, if we did play this song, we'd get copyrighted,
copywritten.
We get flagged, and we don't want that.
We don't want the flag.
We don't want that. We want our channel to be clean.
Maybe people know
flags.
what I'm talking about without me having to show it.
You let us know in the comments. Let us know if you know exactly what song Rachel's talking about, or if she should write the song, because there's no such thing.
That's a really nice way of saying I'm going crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about personalities. Let's talk. Should we go from the angle of me talking about your personality, you talking about mine, or us kind of talking about our? Well, we can do both.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go. No. Let's start with you talking about your personality.
Myself.
Yes.
Okay. So from my point of view, okay. So I would say a little bit more reserved, a little bit more of a thinker. Well, we talked about this before the podcast. I wasn't always like that. This was more of like a 5 years ago type of thing. So I would say,
let's talk about how your personality has evolved over the years.
Okay. So
what was early Rach like?
Early Rach.
For the people that don't know, what was early Rach like?
Early Rach was like loud and crazy and center of attention.
Really?
And oh yeah. Like I feel like my personality was really big. Like I would just talk to everybody. There was no like social battery, as they would say. Like there was like extended. Like I never got tired of
Folks,
people.
who is blown away right now? Like I know this, but as she's saying this, who's blown away right now? Literally, people are like, "What?
Who is that?"
Like you're describing a totally different person.
No, I know.
Okay.
And like I loved it. I loved all of it. I would say probably around like that COVID area.
Okay.
Like you couldn't leave your house. We were talking about this last night. Like New York was so different than like other states. I feel like it was super, super strict on different rules and different things. And so like my sister and I, we were in the house 24/7 all the time, never left, hanging out with one another. And in that time, I loved being alone, as weird as that was. And I was like, I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay with like sitting in my own thoughts and like being more reserved, not talking as much. Like I'm okay with like I'm actually thriving right now. And so I feel like I got a touch of both. Like I got the life of crazy, outgoing, fun, nuts, loud, and now I'm like, I'm good. Like I feel like I overdid it, and now I'm like, okay, I'm done now. I'm done now.
I used it all up.
I used it all up. And now I'm more like, I wouldn't say I'm like super shy. I just like, I'm reserved and like I'll talk to people. I love people, but there definitely gets to a point in the day.
You better. It's literally what we do.
Literally my job is people. But I like get to a certain point of the day and I'm like, I'm okay right now. Like I'm just going to go sit at home by myself with my husband or whatever. And we don't even have to talk. Like I'm just chilling, you know, and that's who I am now, I feel. But yeah, it's so nuts how things have changed.
So again, now the early years, do you think that it stemmed from because you were the youngest of 4, so you needed to like fight for it, you know, or it was just your, because here's the thing that I'm starting to realize is a lot of our personalities or a lot of our makeup is based on our scenarios. So you'll hear like, oh man, like the youngest and then the oldest, like if they get married, it typically works because of this. And so because of their experience, like it doesn't matter if you were a family of 5 and you were the oldest kid and then there's another family across the world that was a family of 5 and they're the like youngest kid. Like their experiences may be different, but because that person was the youngest and this person was the oldest, they had, even though their family dynamics may have looked the same, because somebody was the oldest, their experience was different than somebody who was the youngest.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know if that played a part into it.
I don't know if I would say I was like fighting for it as more of just like everybody was doing it. Like all of us were loud, all of us were crazy and like balls of energy, always with people. And I don't know. I feel like that was just like who we were. Like that was just what we did. And it was fun. Like we had so much fun.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so interesting.
Okay, so then your turning point was COVID.
Yeah.
And it was, which is just
unintentionally too. Like it just happened. Yeah.
So you started experiencing the introverted life. Like you didn't really get to choose it. Like the world chose it for you.
Right.
But then you start to sit there and you're like, I kind of like this.
Kind of enjoying myself.
Enjoying this.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that within that experience that you started to be like, I don't like people anymore, like to a certain degree? Like my personality is like, I want to keep people at arm's distance length because I'm enjoying this time. So for me to preserve this, I'm going to keep people at an arm's distance length.
Yeah.
And then, because here's the thing, like I think that in conversations you and I've had, like I have always been a person that like everybody gets to be in, like nobody really is at an arm distance length. And so I'm just curious if like that time, if it was intentional, if you're like, people became at a distance because of the scenario of the world. And then I'm like, I kind of like people being there.
Maybe. I don't know if I've ever really thought about it like that.
Would you be, now it's 5 years later or whatever, like, are you proud of, like, if that was the case, like, are you proud of that? Or are you like, oh man, I don't like that.
I did enjoy being outgoing. There was no so I guess it's twofold. First thing is when I was outgoing and I just talked, there was no like thinking about what I said. So once I said it, like it was just out there. Whereas now, I think about everything. Yeah. And like, I think that's a good thing that came out of it.
Yeah.
But I do also wish that like I was way more outgoing, which I feel like I'm getting there more like we said, because I'm with people all the time and I love it. Like, like I love my people. Like it's awesome. But at the same time, I do wish that I had I'm just going to keep using this, like that social battery that just never ran out. And I get to just be and hang out with people and talk as much as I want and like be exciting. And I guess, I don't know. That's the part where I guess is that like negative turn for me is like, I wish I still had that. But I do think it is good for me to actually think about what I say before I say it.
Yeah, no, that's good. Because that's something that you're teaching me is to think about what is being said before it is said. Even if like there's no negative like intention behind what you say, it does not matter. Totally. It like words matter.
They do.
And kind of like I think you had mentioned it, like they just came out and then they were out, like the analogy of like toothpaste, of like when you squeeze a toothpaste bottle or hit it and toothpaste comes, like you can't put it back in. And so like the words that you say matter. I've been like a part of that journey for you, not like that I've been that guy for you, but like more so with you, to know like where you were at the beginning of that COVID day and age of a lot of isolation for everybody, not just you, but for everybody. And then to see like where you are at now. And I do think that there are certain traits about ourselves that I think till the end of time we will have. But I think that it's like there are also things in our personality that evolve over time in a good way. If you're intentional about it. In a good way. What's that movie from?
Oh, preference.
Literally we cannot say in a good way anymore.
Never again.
And so what's the scene? It's you bring us down a whole octave.
In a good way.
And it's like, goodness gracious, you can't.
Never again. Never again.
God, I was losing my train of thought. But that our personalities evolve over time. Yeah. And I think that it's a good thing. It's not like that you don't love who you are now, but as you experience more life, as you have different opportunities in your life that, you know, your personality may change again for the better, but to not change for people. Right. But to change it, like if you do change based on just how your life is shaking out. Yeah. Because I think that's another thing that we need to be careful of is that I change my personality for somebody. And I don't think that's right. No. I don't know if I necessarily, other than that God created you uniquely and for purpose and on purpose, like other than that, kind of like what we know about God, that he knitted you together in your mother's womb and he has a plan for you, all these things that like, I don't know if there's like a Bible verse that like says, don't change your personality, but we do see that like we don't want to please man. Like that's not our ultimate goal. That's
never the goal.
So we can kind of use that in this context of like, I don't want to change who God created me to get the approval of somebody, but there are still in our personalities, I think because of selfishness or whatever, like there's certain things in my personality that I would like to see change.
Totally.
And so the spectrum is huge with what personality looks like and stuff like that. But it's been cool to see you because I'm vividly remembering one memory right now where we went over to Thomas and Ivy's house. And this was so Thomas was the new youth pastor at our church, and Rachel had been going there for a while doing her schooling there.
I just want to preface that before he tells this story, this has become an inside joke now for like this has been probably 4 years of this. And so here it is.
So anyways,
here's our inside joke.
Again, I meet Rachel and because you know, she fancied me as well because she fancied me. That you let me into your life, and I got to see like things about you and stuff like that, and we got to talk and all these things. So I like you shared a lot with me, past experiences, like highs and lows, all these things, and so I think because of our relationship where it was like you had viewed yourself as like, yeah, I'm an open book, like you know, you can ask me whatever you want.
Ask me anything. Yeah.
And that was true for me.
Right.
Like, but so anyway, so we go over to have dinner with Thomas and Ivy. And so yeah, Thomas is the new youth pastor. I'm new on staff there. You had been going, but again, Thomas was new to you as well. Ivy was new to you. So it's kind of all new, but we all like very early, like just clicked.
Yeah, we just
like just fun,
together.
Good time. But then we go over to their house because, you know, we're working together and we want to have good relationship with these people. And so we go over there and we have dinner over there. And then Thomas is a guy who will just, in the best way, like just pry, ask questions and questions just to know you. Yeah. And I genuinely think that like that's him showing tons of care.
Totally.
But anyways, so yeah, he's like, so Rach, like, tell me about yourself and all these things. And Rachel's like, wow, like I'm an open book. You can ask me anything. And so he proceeded to ask you a question, and I don't remember any of the questions, but like your responses were all like one-word answers. And
it was like a short snippet of like, I don't know what, like, I don't know. And I still think I'm right in this situation of like, I'm an open book for sure. Ask me whatever you want. But am I going to elaborate a ton? Probably not. So you're going to have to keep asking questions.
So maybe you're not an open book. You're an open, what's the front page that shows you all the chapters? I don't know what that's called.
What is that called?
I don't know what it's called. I found out the other day that the concordance is in the back.
What is that called?
Whatever it's called, where it just says chapter 1.
Yes.
And it's like the title. Like that's how you were answering. Is you're like, I'm an open book. The table of contents. Let's go. The table of contents. So I'm an open book, but my book is like it's just a table of contents. And so you really got to get to know me to know the
rest of the story.
like what's in the chapters.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was funny. So literally like the joke now is that Rachel's an open book.
I'm an open book, everyone. So ask me anything.
Like, and literally like after the whole night, Thomas referenced back to it and he's like, what a wild book. Like I know all about this book now. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
So anyway, so that's some about your personality.
Tell us about your personality.
Let's go. Let's talk about my personality.
Talk about you, baby. Let's go.
Literally what you see is what you get with my personality. Like there is no hiding anything. No, I'm
an open book.
I'm a real open book.
He's a real open, but not a fake one.
No, my personality is kind of what you were describing early in your life. Outgoing. I will say this, like I have no problem being the center of attention. I don't know if I necessarily crave the attention. I love living there. I have no problem living there.
Right.
And so there are times where I definitely I'm like, hey, I got a good story or all these things.
Right. I don't think it's like a selfish me. It's more of like I'm going to be the center of attention because I make everyone else around me laugh or have a good time.
Yes.
So like, look at me to have a good time.
Yeah. Sure. I was like, you want a good time? Look at me.
It's right here. It's right here.
It's right here. Oh man, what is it like? Whenever someone like when I walk in the room and someone's like, "Now the party can start," I'm like, "That's right.
Let's go.
That's right.
Let's go." Yeah, that's funny.
No, so that's been my personality forever. The classic middle child, like that's me. Where Ashley was easy child, I then come in and I'm like, I like don't forget about me, and then there's the third child, Johnny, and then like they're caring for the youngest, and I'm like, hey, don't forget about I'm here, like so talking about fighting for that attention, like I was like, but I wasn't necessarily fighting for it. I lived in it, and I was like, this is just I like to make people laugh.
Yeah,
I like to make people feel included. I guess another like part of the personality is in high school and growing up, there was this one student when I was a senior. She was a freshman and a little on the quirky side, a little bit on the like funny, weird side and stuff like that. Not a ton of friends. And so, but like at lunch, if I saw her sitting by herself, I was like, I may not stay the whole lunch because I do like to, laugh with my buddies and stuff like that. But if I would walk by and see her or see anybody like that, like I would just stop for a sec and just make sure they're good. Like, cause again, some people like to eat by themselves,
of course.
And they're like, no, I'm thriving right here. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. So, but for me, I just want to make sure that they're all good. And so that plays a little part into my personality as well, is going back to that. Don't get me wrong. There's been times recent over my lifetime where I've struggled with selfishness, like me. But,
don't we all though?
Yeah. Right. But I would say that plays a part in my personality as well, is just like this, heavy on the people, like just making sure everybody is like heard, taken care of, all these things. And so that plays a little bit in my personality. But then going off to college, same thing. 2 years into college, the second semester of my sophomore year is when I don't know if it was in the best way, but I started to isolate a little bit into my dorm room. And I enjoyed it. I was having major, I was missing home.
And you think that's why?
What?
Like, why did you isolate? Because you were missing home?
I was missing home. Yeah. I was missing home. I wasn't having the best experience with baseball. And so I was starting to lose a little bit of love for that, because what I would do before is like in moments where I chose then at that time to like just isolate and be at home or in my room, I would like go to the cages and I'd hit, work out, and people were there and having conversations, but I was just losing the love for that. And I will say, I think that my personality changed a little bit because like God wasn't like the like priority or the authority in my life. Like it was very much baseball. And so my personality started changing because the thing that I was putting all my stock into was changing. And I'm like, this is who I am. This is what I do. And so my personality started changing because that started changing. I wasn't getting as much playing time. I wasn't all these things. And so my world was kind of shifting or crumbling.
Yeah.
And so then my personality started to.
Wow.
Because I'm not an isolator like that. And I don't think God has created any of us to be isolators. That's straight from the enemy.
Absolutely.
And so now I will say some are introverts and some are extroverts. Some people like to, like they recharge on their own. But I was even having this conversation with somebody the other day about the difference of isolation and alone time with God, or just alone time in general.
Yeah.
Isolation is trying to escape everything, where being alone is I'm running to God to sustain me and to rejuvenate me in this time. And so the enemy desires isolation in our life. And so anyways, that's a whole nother podcast or a whole nother sermon.
And we will get to that, because
And we'll get
that
to
is
that.
the great topic.
Yeah,
honestly.
it is. And we may even have people on for that one to talk about that as well, because that was only a little portion of my life, but some people have gone through long spurts seasons of isolation.
Absolutely.
And so anyways, but then I come home from college, and then I'm right back into my old self
You're
and
in
all
your
these
groove.
things.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my personality, we can talk a little bit about the Enneagram. I know it's like some people are like,
It's controversial.
it's controversial because some
sure.
people are like, that's how I figured out who I was. And other
Yeah.
people are like, God defines who I am. And I'm like, yes, he does. But this is just like words describing who
Right.
you already are. It's not you learning or you coming back or like, this is only who I am.
Right.
And this is how.
It helps honestly for work environments too.
Oh,
Of
for sure.
Like what personalities, I don't want to say clash, but like they go head to head a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Like there are personalities that just don't vibe unless you like
Are intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
about vibing them together.
You're
Yeah.
vibing them together.
Meshing them together is more
So-
better word.
so
I don't know what
Rachel wasn't like super familiar with Enneagram.
until I moved here.
Right.
And then literally I got to college and everybody was like, "Oh, what's your Enneagram? What's your Enneagram?" And I'm like,
And that's the other thing is that people like idolized
Yeah.
the Enneagram.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, it's a cool tool and all these things, but
cool tool.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That is a perfect way to describe it. It is not a personality trait of the Enneagrams or whatever. It's literally just a cool tool to help you learn better about somebody else.
yeah.
Let's go, babe.
Let's go. So I am a 3-wing 2.
All right, tell us what that means.
Well, in unhealthy ways, I'm a people pleaser. And so I make a lot of decisions based on how people will react to this or how it's going to affect people. And going back to like, I'm not called to please man, but to please God. And I'm not saying that any of the decisions I didn't consider God in my decisions. I mean, sometimes I failed in that, but that I'm like, what is so-and-so going to think about this? How are they going to react to this? And then I would be like, I don't think that they're going to react well, so I'm not going to do it. And it's like, well, God called you to make a decision or to lead in this way. And you're not, because you're afraid of what they're going to say.
Right.
So like in an unhealthy way, that's kind of where I land.
Totally.
In an unhealthy way, I kind of also, again, this is not just based on what an Enneagram is saying, but like also what I know about myself.
Right.
Is, that I will work so hard to feel like I achieved something for the sake of feeling like I achieved something. And it's like, hey, you need to like slow down, you need to relax. And that is one thing that I'm learning is it's like, I don't need to work so hard to prove my worth, or I don't need to work so hard to prove to somebody that I'm doing something.
Right.
Like I'm afraid if someone were to like look at certain like times of my life and they're like, hey, you had X amount of hours and you only worked for this little amount. And it's like, I know, I'm so sorry. Like all this, like I'm afraid of like that. And so those are kind of some unhealthy things. The healthy kind of idea of, in the Enneagram 3-wing 2 or
Which, by the way, whoever doesn't know that, your main number is the one that kind of is like your main category of what defines you. Yeah. Not defines you. Bad word. Bad choice of words, Rachel.
No, that was good. You did that on purpose.
I did that on purpose. Of what kind of like describes you the best. And then wing is you either go opposite ends of the number. So like if you're an 8, you would go either a 9 or a 7.
7, yeah.
So for Daniel, he's a 3-wing 2. Wing 2 is kind of like the extra stuff. Now continue.
Well, anyways, yeah. So do you have on there?
Oh yeah, I
like,
have
do you have?
I have a little diagram.
Yep. Do you have a 3-wing too?
Well, the 3 says the competitive achiever, and then the 2 says the considerate helper.
So I am a considerate achiever, or a
competitive helper.
I don't know if I'm a
no. You're not a competitive.
I have competitiveness in me, but it's not like what drives me.
Take over.
Achieving drives me, and helping drives me.
Yeah. So I would say the considerate helper, or the achiever with the consideration of helping.
I'm a considerate achiever.
We'll go back to what you said. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Anyways, I on the healthy end of like my personality, that I do consider people.
Yeah.
So where the negative is like, what are they going to think? The positive is I consider people in decision making,
right.
or at least I try to. Like that is something that really drives me. Is like, how are people going to feel also? So not necessarily are they going to, like, yes, in a negative way, like how are they going to view the situation? How are they going to view me and all this? But in the healthy way, I consider their people's feelings. And now I will say, because the Enneagram doesn't define me, because I also do struggle in this area, like of considering people, especially like people that are close to me, because you and I have had this conversation and people may very much disagree with this or be like, oh, I'm all in on that. Like sometimes you and I will get into it in an argument or certain things, and we'll describe again to each other, because this is a you and I thing. I'm not saying this is blanket across everybody should operate with this, but that I'm like, I know you're not going anywhere. Like, you know, we again, people are like, yeah, well, if you do that long enough and view that long enough,
go somewhere.
They will go somewhere.
But I think, that is a good caveat of like, this is literally for us, just for us.
Take it or leave it.
Don't take it. Don't leave it. Whatever you want to do. But yeah, I think that also goes back to, I was going to say this before. It goes back to like your people pleasing of like, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? Whereas when we do that is like, well, I already know she loves me and I know she's not going anywhere. So I don't have to like please her in the decisions that I make, because I know she'll be right behind me, which is true. I am with you, but also I'm here to talk about those ideas, those thoughts, those things, and bounce the ideas off of you, because like we're talking about personalities, we are so different. So we do have good perspectives on either end of the spectrum together, which has been really good.
And so before we get, like, I want to make a point on that before we get to what your Enneagram is that in marriage, or in even just friendships or relationships or whatever, but specifically or especially in marriage, viewing the differences of your spouse. And we learned this from CFL, like literally so we're in this room on this side, they do their podcast on that side.
Right over there.
And so, but we've learned from them that let's celebrate and champion the differences of one another, because if we believe that God has brought us together, and if we believe that God has uniquely designed each one of both of us like this, then there's no mistake in those personalities being brought together.
Right.
And so, yes, I want to grow, and the negative things about me, I want to turn them into positives.
Correct.
And so I'm not just saying that like, hey, this is me, you get me. Like, yes, you get me, the good, bad, and the ugly, but I want to also strive to look more like God,
which is that
and
sanctification process.
Yeah. And so naturally, the bad things about me, I want them to grow into healthy things, or for them to just go.
Yeah.
And so, but if we believe that God uniquely designed the both of us as he did, and it brought us together, then the differences and our different experiences and all the differences, rather than letting them compete against one another, that we celebrate them and bring them together.
Complement one another.
Because your like thought process and the way that you really think through everything, I'm such an emotional thinker that, that I don't necessarily go to just the thought process behind it all. Like, this is how I feel, so this is what we're doing. And it's like, in moments you need that, sure. But in majority of the time, we need to think about the decision we're about to make. We need to think about this. And so you bring that out in me. For me, to you, there's times where I'm like, I ask you a question and like you're really thinking about it. I'm like, boom, we're doing this, and
just
go.
Make a
just
decision.
Go. And so you're now you're in this position now where you're like you make some more snap decisions where I'm
Trying
like,
my
I don't
best.
think we necessarily need to think super long and hard about that.
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna have like root beer or Pepsi for dinner tonight? Well, it's like,
Oh, let me think. Well,
and by this point, I already have you root beer like on the table, and you're like, oh, okay, that's good. And I'm like, there we go.
let's go.
So, anyways, all right. So let's talk a little bit about your personality.
Okay, so I have taken the test before, once before, and it said I was a 6. So that is the loyal skeptic. So I'm very loyal,
But very skeptical.
true, but very skeptical. But I think so. We talked about this in the car a little bit. I think I wing 5. The quiet specialist. Pretty much just quiet. I think is pretty much what that is, because
So
like,
a
the
loyal,
other side is
quiet skeptic.
yeah. Nice. The other side is enthusiastic visionary.
But
and
here's
that's
the thing.
Just not who I am.
But here's the thing. Like, I think it evolves over time,
Yeah.
because if you were to ask yourself your 14-year-old self or 15-year-old self, you would probably be on that.
I definitely would be a
enthusiastic
wing
part.
7 for sure. And
Yeah.
I think I've always been a loyal skeptic.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think that has changed,
Right.
truthfully. I do think that I maybe the wing has changed.
Sure.
But yeah, so for sure loyal skeptic, so very big thinker. The bad part is that I think the bad of everything immediately. That's my first thought, which the Lord is helping me. He's changing me. And thank you, Jesus.
It's not that you're like trying to remove like critical thinking.
No.
Or being situationally aware.
That is vital for life.
Yes.
Vital for life. But just helping me in more so with the people aspect of like you said, being situational aware, being just a good thinker critically, but honestly thinking the best of people and not automatically assuming the worst in people when they do something or just start talking to me. Like there's just, I need to be better at that. And he is changing me.
Well, here's the thing, because I feel like this has played out for the both of us, because I am not a skeptical person. I'm not a worst case scenario type of person. So because I am so far in that camp and you are so far in that camp, that again, bringing this together helps, because
It's been really good.
It has, because there have been times where we'll leave a conversation or whatever, and I'll be like, they were the best person. And Rachel's like, I'm not saying that they're a terrible person, but there are some reservations. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, I didn't even see that. And then things have played out where it was like, that's kind of what I was talking about. Again, not being like that, though, that's the worst person, but I'm just, I'm aware, like I'm aware.
Yeah. And I think, sorry, I
No,
think
you're good.
there is a little piece, that I'm not going to say it's like from the Lord, but I do think that I have some kind of a discernment because of this, because in that I know what situation you're talking about. There has been a part of like, I'm sitting in a conversation with somebody and I'm like, there's just something off. Like there's just something not right. I can't really put my finger on it, but I also don't want to say, like you said, I don't want to say they're a bad person,
Right.
because that's never,
But
never
the Holy
case.
Spirit has given you discernment.
Yes. And I truly think that is maybe one of the giftings that just the Lord has given me. And I'm not saying that it's right, because I need to utilize it in the right way. I can't let my flesh take over and just be like, yeah, this is the Lord, this is discernment.
Well, I think
no,
that's the battle.
Right.
That's the battle, because the enemy is going to tell you, and you're going to operate potentially in flesh and say, I don't like that person,
Right.
or they're wrong. And it's like, well, was that like your flesh,
Right.
or was that the Spirit helping
Right.
you discern something? And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's the healthy part, is the spiritual discernment given to us by the Holy Spirit.
I seek the Holy Spirit in that.
Yeah.
But yes, the bad part is that if I let my flesh go,
Yeah.
everybody is the worst.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to turn on me. Everyone is going to make bad, that.
And that's why I'm like, Rach, bring it back, bring it back.
Reel it back in. We're okay.
No, I love it. Anyways,
That is so funny.
And I don't know if this is factual. Maybe everybody can check me on this, but I'm pretty sure in some study that I did, Mr. Scholar, some study that I did, or some Instagram video that played for me, is that 3s, 6s, and 9s all jive together. Yeah. So look at us.
Let's go.
And you know what's funny is Ashley is a 9. And I feel like when me, you, and Ash are in a room,
we are
like,
vibing.
Yeah, we're vibing.
We
we're
have
vibing.
the best time. That's so funny.
So, anyways, marry someone that you have different personality. No, I'm just kidding.
Opposites attract.
Opposites attract. They really do.
I really, truly stand by that.
Yeah.
I also want to say something from our before conversation. I remember my parents talking about, because you had said like your personality is constantly changing and like life events also just impact that.
Yeah.
And I remember something that my parents had told me years ago. And they were like, it's funny because like, so my mom and dad have been married 35 years this year, I think. I think they're celebrating 35. And so they're like, I know everything about this person, but I'm constantly learning about them because they are also changing. They're human. Their personalities are changing sometimes. Their experiences are changing. And so I think that is like the cool part about like you never arrive. Like you never get to a point where I'm like, I know every single thing about Daniel and I don't have to learn anything else anymore. It's like, no, like that's the fun part. Like we're constantly learning new things about each other. We're constantly continuing to just see different things in each other. And I think that's also the really fun part about marriage is it never stops. And it just makes it fun, you know?
It does make it fun. And we're having such a great time. But I truly do believe that God has uniquely designed each one of us. And so operate in the personality and don't feel like your personality is lesser. Don't feel like your personality doesn't have impact. Because just as you know, as a church, that we all have a role to play in how we operate as the church, and that people have different responsibilities and different giftings and unique giftings, that your personality plays a part into that. And so, yes, your personality may change over time. You may be somebody that has like heard that and you're like, from day one, I'm the same person
and
since
Daniel
day one.
can relate to that.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. Like I don't really see much of a change in my personality.
Right.
But to know that you don't have to worry about like your personality, if it's not cool, if it's not fun, if it's boring, whatever. Like that's not the case. And so celebrate your personality, celebrate others' personalities, challenge people when their personality needs to change. Just kidding. Challenge someone when it's like, hey, that thing about you, and you can only do this within close relationships.
Right,
really, you can't just do this to Joe
Rando
Schmo walking
off
the side of the street.
yeah.
But like there's been certain things that I've seen in you or that you've seen in me that you're like, hey, I want to challenge you in this. And it does fall into the category of your personality. Our personalities aren't perfect. No. Let's make sure we also know that we can celebrate our personalities, but know that we're not perfect.
Absolutely.
I'll be the first one to say that. Like I am not perfect.
1000% me too.
So yes, we can celebrate our differences, we can celebrate our personalities, but we can also challenge each other to continue to look every day more like the Lord. Because ultimately that's the goal. Like the goal at the end of the day isn't to just celebrate my personality, but it's to look more like the Lord. And in doing so, you're going to have a better personality. Like your personality is going to shine and it's going to be amazing. Which is why I do think that God is funny, because look at humor.
You're made in the image of God.
I'm made in the image of God. And he's made me silly. I'm a silly
he
goose.
He is funny.
He is funny.
I 100% believe the Lord is funny.
We could literally talk forever, but literally, like there are times where a situation
happens. These situations will get you, babe.
A situation or something happens, and you're like, "That was funny, God.
That was funny, Lord.
Like funny how you did that."
Hilarious.
And so I do think that he's funny.
He's funny,
and so
in the best way, he's funny.
Seriously. So, but we can celebrate differences. We can compliment one another. Yeah. Bring it back. We can celebrate our differences. So anyways, thank you guys for joining. We are so glad that you guys tune in. And, you know, I don't think that we are the smartest people in the world, but I think that we're relatable. I think we're relatable, and I want to talk, and I like to talk. And so you will listen to us.
Really why we're here is just we like to talk.
Goodness gracious, we need to end this podcast.
Well, here, one more thing. If you have any topics that you would want to hear from us, hear us talk about, put them in the comments below. We would love to hear your suggestions. We may not take them, but we would love to hear them.
Yeah, always hear. Message us. If you're seeing this on Instagram, message us.
Yeah.
We want to talk about things that you also want to hear about.
Yeah.
And our lack of knowledge on that thing, whatever it is. Like literally,
could be fun.
Somebody could be like, I want to hear about this. And so we're like, all right, we're going to talk about this today. And the podcast is 5 minutes.
That's all our thoughts. All right. See you later, guys.
Have a great day. Thanks for joining us on a really fun podcast. No, on that day, we may just have somebody that
actually knows knowledge about
actually knows about that.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. We're so thankful that we get to be a part of this community, and thank you guys for playing a part in that. You guys are special. You guys have great personalities, and celebrate it. Love you guys.
Bye.